You can apply this to literally any kind of conversation. All the things I've talked about over the years. There's been conversations that I've had, and I can show you from this same exact video an example from this same exact video where I interviewed, I think it was about 6 different black women, where they actually, again, the conversation it's not as if you're attacking them. It's not. You present it in such a way where they're not being judged. You're presented in such a way where you make them feel comfortable. You make them feel more open to share honestly with you. And I shared with them from the very beginning. This is just my questions, no judgment. I'm not even giving my own opinion. I'm asking questions, you respond. That's literally it. And you also giving them the opportunity to speak about other women in general, because generally black women like to gossip. They like to talk. They like to talk about other women. So again, so many different ways in which I've kind of presented it to them to make them feel more open and at ease and willing to speak the truth. Like, for example, self-hate or lazy. They hated that video. Man, I got attacked so much from that. But in this particular video, completely different approach. They were far more open and honest about being lazy and everything. I shit you not. That's how this is how it is. Watch what I tell you. Pay attention to this.
That's like the white woman. It's straight. You don't have to worry about it. That's what it's about.
It's being lazy. Yes, the hell, yes, it is. Sometimes I don't feel like doing my hair. I don't feel like straightening it out. I don't feel like doing any of that. So I put on a wig, or I just get a weave. And I can do whatever I feel like with the weave.
It's time to tell it like it is. What is up, my beautiful black people? Thank you for joining me for another Harvey Rants video. Right here is where you can expect to have the important discussions to encourage and influence the necessary actions that will create significant positive change for our people. So let's get right into it. I came across this video. I'm going to give my spill on it. Title of this video says, Cooley triggers a whole panel of single moms. Let's do it.
As a single mother, do you believe you deserve a man in the top percentile? And if so, why would that man want you? So all of y'all single moms besides one. So show of hands. Do you think you deserve a man in the top percentile? Oh, we got 5. Okay. So you think you deserve him. Why would that man want you?
Well, for one, because I'm a very good mother. I'm not a perfect mom, but I'm a very good mom. So I think.
But what does that have to do with him?
Because
that's
I think
exactly
that shows
what I
a
was
lot about
thinking.
my character.
Single moms show the worst characteristic traits, to be honest. I'll explain why. Because if they had good characteristic traits, they would be with the baby father. They would have chose a man that's worthy of them to have a good kid with, and they would stay with that man. Furthermore, they would see that, okay, if I leave this man, then my daughter or my son would be without a father. And we know that a child without a father leads to more degeneracy.
My 22-year-old self would kick myself in the face for ever picking the man that I chose to have a child with.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know
Accountability.
that
Thank you.
when we see a single mom, we don't see good character, even if she can claim that she's a good mom. We see terrible mom.
Oh, I can't wait to answer this.
I
She
do
can't
agree
wait.
with that.
My kid have nothing to do with my quality as a wife.
No, what single mothers show is that you're selfish because you prioritize yourself over the kid. If you prioritize the kid, you would have worked through thick and thin to keep that relationship with the father.
If you guys are familiar with my content, you know I don't really care to get into these conversations that kind of pin women against men. I also don't like to get into certain conversations just because it's trending, just because everybody else is doing, just because this is what's hot right now. This is what everybody's talking about. I don't care about that. I care about having discussions that will ultimately lead to habits changing habits, changing people's actions, the way they understand things, the way they choose to do things, making better decisions that will ultimately lead to significant positive change for overall in the future. How you govern yourself, how you live your life, how you raise your children, important things. But this is very important because there is something that needs to be understood about relationships that they're kind of getting to here. It's not even about you being selfish and leaving a relationship. It should be an issue stemming from before that. You made the decision to pick this man. You did. And the thing that I hate so much about these type of conversations, women will respond as they feel necessary, depending on the conversation, depending on the situation. If the conversation was different, if this situation was different, they will admit all of these things that they're not admitting to now. They say they will flat out, you have the right conversation at the right time with the right person, and if you're only asking specific things, you're not getting into this whole thing about whether who is good, who's bad, who causes the turmoil in the relationship or whatever. You know, they expect that they're going to respond a certain way to not make themselves look bad. But if you present it a different way, I assure you, they will flat out admit. They will flat out admit that they saw red flags. They'll flat out admit that they knew this, they knew that, they knew all these horrible things, and they still got with that man. The right conversation, you present it to them the right way, and if they're not knowing that you're going to go and turn that and use that against them, they will admit that they've ignored these things. Oh, they thought he would change. They thought they could change him. A lot of women out here think they could change men. So many women think that they are such an amazing existence that them being present in this man's life is going to turn his life around. Don't get me wrong. Having a woman in your life can significantly, positively impact your life. But do not use that. Do not come into any man's life and think that you have this special power and you can just so easily change that person. You're setting yourself up for failure. And failure is what happens, unfortunately, the vast majority of the time.
I'm saying is, for instance, I feel like there's this thing in society that we are blamed because of the men that we choose. Sometimes we are deceived. Sometimes we meet a person and we think, oh my God, this guy's going to be such an amazing father.
Oh, we were deceived. Women can be deceived. Yeah, men can too. I'm telling you the facts from the horse's mouth, as they say, from the horse's mouth. You have these conversations with thousands and thousands and thousands of women like I have. They will flat out admit that they have ignored red flags, that they have done these things, expecting that they can change this man and all kind of craziness. You have to take accountability for the fact that you failed at the horrible man that you picked. It's not just your average woman in this country. You can see this everywhere, beyond average, even the celebrities. Come on now. Michael B. Jordan, the woman that he was interviewing. I mean, that's kind of old now. You know, guys that are good guys, and y'all ignore them. You will ignore. They're boring. They're corny. When they know that there's some level of accountability, or it's going to be turned and used against them in some way, of course they're going to go in like her. Oh, want to act like they were manipulated, like these men, they weren't honest about the type of person that they are. It's the same, goes the same both ways. But women, so often, far more often than men. I've had tens of thousands of conversations with men too. Please believe me. Women far more than men will accept nonsense and stupidity. They'll ignore these red flags. They'll think they can change that. Women far more than men. Far more than men. Facts. Give me a moment. It's going to take a while because it's going back way back years ago. There's a lot of black women out there, and they make the conscious decision to remain involved with these no good ass men. Even if they terminate the relationship, they'll end up right back in a relationship with a no good motherfucker. I don't understand why that is. This is something I've seen. Look at this young guy. Pretty much my entire life. Look at this young guy. Right now, I know several people who are involved with no good motherfuckers. Let me just be clear about something. Let me share something about this real quick. This is only 8 or 9 years ago. It's on my Harvey Rants channel. I didn't want to go and switch channels, go through all that, and go back even further. Videos from 12, 14 years ago. Yeah, but this I think is from 8 or 9 years ago. And I actually do look a little bit younger. I think I look at you. This is tripping me out to kind of look back and see myself. Anyway, let me get to it. Yeah. I wonder why that is.
It's who they attract.
Females allow things to go on in their relationships that shouldn't. I've been finding that a lot of females that I've come across get in relationships with men who are already in relationships, and they're okay with it. So when they come in front of those other females that they already knew were there, it's like, so why are you upset? Why do you want to fight this girl? Why does she want to fight you when you both know that you would already deal with the same man?
Or your father's a ghetto ass mess. So you feel comfortable with that. You're okay with it. In this day and age, everything is about what's in.
What's cool, what's popular, what's trending.
Social media.
Yeah.
What's big.
That's not me.
What
not
would make me
Never
be
been
part
me.
of the in crowd. That's all they know. That's all they hear. Because all they hear is rap, hip hop, ratchet music. The ratchet music is taking over. Most of it starts at home. They're ignorant. Some people have never been anywhere and done anything, so they don't see that. That's just something they don't see. And they don't care to see it because they want to be in their own little world.
My purpose with this project, as well as many others to come, is to get to the bottom of why this horrible image has been created for black women, for black people. Not only to find out why, but also to hopefully find a way to destroy this horrible image, to become better people. Majority of the women didn't want to be recorded. They didn't mind talking about it. They didn't want to be recorded. A couple of women were saying because of their job, the type of work that they do, whether they were in law enforcement or some government job, they couldn't be a part of it. They didn't mind giving feedback, but they couldn't be a part of it. That's all fine. Now, my time talking to all these black women, and as I mentioned earlier, almost 100 black women, about 100 black women, there has, and as shocking as it is, there's been literally 4 women, believe it or not, only 4 women that actually say they disagree with black women being these horrible people that most people say they are. Most people think them to be. I remember their that. attitude.
I remember that.
Worst race of women and horrible parents. 4. Those 4 women disagreed with it. And those same 4 women had the same things to say about black women like all the other black women. Think about that.
Yeah, this is something I've been talking about for many, many years. It's crazy to me how just like earlier in the video, they'll deny self-hate, lazy, and all these other questions I asked, but then literally, couple seconds later in the video, when I asked them the next question, a few seconds later, they're admitting and acknowledging and proving, they're justifying the lazy habits and the self-hate that they have for themselves. I don't like how what? This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. When they understand, it's just like you watch Judge Judy, and she's very popular, so I hope a lot of you know what I'm talking about. She often tells people in her courtroom, don't try to see where she's going. Like, people know where she's going with it, and they'll try to respond a certain way to try to counter it or try not to set themselves up, criminalize themselves or make themselves seem like people will do that. This is how people are. And I'm telling you, you get women in the right situation, get them comfortable, get them speaking about, allow them to speak out, especially speaking about other people, talking about other women. They love to do that. You get them, you set the tone the right way, and they will be honest with you, tell you anything. They'll be honest about everything. Most of the time, you don't do that, which I don't care to take time to do all that most of the time. They're not going to be honest with you because they know what you're getting at. And instead of being accountable, instead of telling the truth, they won't tell the truth. I mean, that's how it is. But nevertheless, for the sake of projects like this, like I mentioned, I took the time to actually engage in a certain way and present it in a certain way so I can get more truth out of women. As I mentioned in the video, this is only with a little less than 100 women that I spoke to way back this many years ago, specifically for this project. Thousands and thousands and thousands of others. It's a smaller percentage of those women that will admit to that stuff, again, because they understand what you're trying to do. They understand where you're going at with it. So you have a smaller percentage of women that are going to be honest about things. And I respect and appreciate those who still choose to be honest. I mean, plus for that. But yeah, this is how it is. This is what it is when it comes to, men typically. Whether they know, whether they understand the direction that the conversation is going in or not. Men typically, and again, this is just from my own personal experience, tens of thousands of conversations over the past 15 plus years, men typically are far more honest than women. I don't even have to question or try to do some research or dig deep like I do with women, because men typically, they even share some shit that you don't even ask them. They'll share some shocking, wow, it's crazy. Willingly. Like, men tend to be more honest than women. Not trying to make it a competition thing, but men seem to be more honest than women, more forthcoming. You don't have to pull teeth or men don't dance around the questions or they do sometimes, but not nearly as much as women do. Just like that conversation with Cam Newton and that woman, I bet you this. If it was a woman, instead of me, if it was a woman asking a man those questions, that man wouldn't be that honest. I think it's just a thing between men. Just like I'm sure there's a thing between women. Women are far more comfortable gossiping and talking with other women. Do this little experiment yourself if you think I'm making this up. They could be complete strangers. Women are far more comfortable sharing personal stuff with a complete stranger that's a woman
than she is sharing secrets with a complete stranger who's a man. So I know I get that a lot. I know I get more of that from men because I'm a man. Like I said, if it was a woman that was doing this and asking those men had those same conversations I had, they probably wouldn't be as honest. They probably wouldn't be as honest. So and it makes sense. Women don't want men to know certain secrets. Men don't want women to know certain secrets. I get it. This was just kind of a trip for me to see my younger self from way 9-10 years ago. This is a trip right here, but this is very important. Very important for us to understand what we need to do to move forward with changing our habits and our understanding of things and how we choose to govern ourselves and how we choose to vet people. And there's a lot to learn from this for the sake of better relationships. Better relationships will create better people. When I say creating people, I'm talking about parenting and all of that. That's extremely important. But even the people involved in a relationship, when you are satisfied in a relationship, you're happy in a relationship, you tend to be a better person. You tend to be more nice, more patient, more just in general, a much better person. Like I said, right here is where you can expect to have those important discussions to influence and encourage the necessary actions that will create significant positive change for our people. Right here. We're doing it right here. So go ahead and comment, share the video, like the video. Let me know if there's some topics you want to discuss, any videos you want to share with me that for me to review, whatever. I'm open for all that. If you truly care to see a positive difference for us, then please subscribe to change. Subscribe to being better people. Until next time.